In 1968, the captain of a Soviet nuclear submarine faced a choice no human should ever have to make: allow rogue operatives on board to launch a nuclear missile at Hawaii and start World War III, or kill every man on his ship, including himself, to stop them. As he watched the KGB agents prepare for launch, the captain knew something no one else did, and that one secret may have saved the world. Let's dive in. Dawn breaks over the naval base at Petropavlovsk-Kamchatsky on February 24, 1968, as Captain Vladimir Ivanovich Kobzar stands on the deck of K-129, watching his crew make final preparations. The seasoned commander's brow furrows slightly. Something feels off about this hasty deployment. Only 11 days earlier, the submarine had been transferred back to his crew, with orders to replace another vessel reportedly suffering from engineering issues. The rushed timeline left little room for proper preparation, a stark deviation from Soviet naval protocols. Captain Kobzar was no ordinary submarine commander. His previous work overseeing K-129's transformation from a surface missile launch platform to a fully submerged system had earned him respect throughout the Soviet Pacific Fleet. As Kobzar reviewed his manifest, another anomaly caught his attention. Beyond the standard complement of 13 officers and 70 enlisted personnel, today's mission included an additional officer and 14 extra sailors, 10 of whom possessed special training, but no sea experience. These mysterious additions, combined with the rushed departure, raised quiet concerns in the captain's mind, as K-129 slipped beneath the waves on what was meant to be a routine 70-day ballistic missile patrol. The submarine reached deep water, conducted a test dive, and transmitted its first and ultimately final radio message: all systems normal. According to standing orders, the submarine was scheduled to make standard radio check-ins when crossing the 180th meridian and again upon reaching its patrol area. Days passed at the Soviet naval headquarters in Kamchatka, with no communication from K-129. By mid-March, alarm bells were ringing throughout the Soviet command structure. Not one, but two scheduled communications had been missed. Increasingly desperate broadcasts ordered the submarine to break radio silence. All met with haunting silence. A desperate search operation was launched, deploying every available air and naval asset from Kamchatka and Vladivostok. For weeks, Soviet vessels crisscrossed 1.3 million square kilometers of the Pacific Ocean, searching for any trace of their missing submarine and the 98 souls aboard. But K-129 wasn't there. What Soviet searchers couldn't know was that their missing submarine lay broken on the ocean floor nearly 16,500 feet deep, in waters 1,560 nautical miles northwest of Hawaii, hundreds of miles from where they were looking. The vessel's location would remain a mystery to the Soviets, but not to their Cold War adversaries. Using the sophisticated SOSUS underwater surveillance system, the U.S. Navy had pinpointed the submarine's final resting place by August 1968. In the shadow war between superpowers, the broken hull of K-129 represented the ultimate intelligence prize, a sunken treasure of military secrets worth risking international incident to obtain. While Soviet search vessels had long abandoned hope, America's intelligence community was hatching what would become the most elaborate covert operation of the Cold War. President Richard Nixon himself authorized Project Azorian, not to be led by the Navy as might be expected, but by the CIA, reflecting the immense intelligence value hidden there. The CIA became obsessed with recovering these prizes, even if it meant inventing entirely new technologies to do so. To hide their true intentions, the CIA crafted an elaborate deception worthy of a Hollywood thriller. They created a completely fictional deep-sea mining company, ostensibly owned by the eccentric billionaire Howard Hughes, whose reputation for unusual projects and reclusiveness made him the perfect unwitting accomplice. The cover story claimed the specially built ship would extract valuable manganese nodules from the ocean floor. The CIA even hired experts to publish scientific papers about deep-sea mining to make the cover believable. By 1974, 6 years after the submarine's discovery, the operation was finally ready. The recovery itself remains shrouded in classified mystery, though we know the mission didn't go exactly as planned. The official story claims only a small portion of the submarine was recovered after the mechanical claw broke. However, the recovery of the submarine's bell, permanently attached to the conning tower in the middle of the sub, suggests the valuable midsection may have been at least partially recovered, contradicting the official narrative of failure. The operation remained secret until thieves broke into Howard Hughes' office in 1974, stealing documents that revealed his connection to the CIA. When the Los Angeles Times and investigative reporter Jack Anderson broke the story months later, the government was forced to create what became known as the 𝐫𝐤𝐼 response, neither confirming nor denying the operation's existence, a legal tactic still used today. The extraordinary lengths America went to recover this submarine begged a chilling question. What if K-129 wasn't just a Soviet submarine that suffered a catastrophic accident, but a vessel on an unauthorized mission to trigger nuclear war? The forensic evidence points to something far more disturbing than mechanical failure, something that might explain why both superpowers were obsessed with this particular wreckage. The most unsettling piece of evidence is K-129's position when it sank. The submarine was found approximately 1,560 nautical miles northwest of Oahu, Hawaii, thousands of miles from its typical patrol area. Former intelligence officers have proposed a shocking theory that a group of rogue KGB operatives had effectively hijacked the submarine with the intention of launching a nuclear missile at Hawaii. The evidence for this extraordinary claim? K-129 was carrying an unusually large crew of 92 personnel, 9 more than the standard complement of 83. According to multiple sources, these additional personnel included a KGB Maverick team who weren't regular submarine crew. The forensic evidence of an internal explosion rather than a hull failure suggests a critical decision was made in those final moments, a decision that sent K-129 to the bottom of the Pacific instead of potentially igniting World War III. The mystery centers on Captain 𝐫𝐤𝐿 himself. Deep beneath the Pacific waves, as unauthorized personnel likely prepared for an unsanctioned nuclear launch against Hawaii, Captain 𝐫𝐤𝐿 faced the most impossible choice in human history. What would you do if the only way to prevent millions of deaths in World War III was to sacrifice yourself and everyone serving under you? For Captain Vladimir Ivanovich 𝐫𝐤𝐿, this nightmarish scenario may have become reality in those final fateful moments aboard K-129. As Captain Jack G. Newman noted, this level of expertise made 𝐫𝐤𝐿 unlikely to be easily swayed or to tolerate incompetence. His stellar reputation and career trajectory suggested he was even being groomed to potentially command the entire Pacific Fleet. When confronted with rogue operatives attempting to launch nuclear missiles at Hawaii, what options would such a disciplined officer have? The missile launch procedures aboard Soviet submarines were designed with multiple layers of protection, specifically to prevent unauthorized actions. But there was a secret only the captain knew. If he entered an incorrect launch code, the weapons would detonate inside the submarine itself. This brutal mechanism ensured that no rogue crew could ever successfully launch without proper authorization. The evidence recovered by Project Azorian supports this horrifying possibility. The CIA discovered a 3-meter hole just behind the conning tower, with the forward section crushed and charring in the bow section, damage consistent with an internal explosion rather than external pressure failure. Imagine 𝐫𝐤𝐿's torment in those final moments, realizing the true nature of his vessel's mission, watching as KGB operatives prepared to unleash nuclear fire on American soil. He faced an impossible moral calculation. The lives of his 98 crew members weighed against millions of Hawaiian civilians and the near certainty of nuclear retaliation from America. In that moment, deliberately entering incorrect launch codes would have been an act of unimaginable courage, knowingly condemning himself and his entire crew to death to prevent global catastrophe. If true, 𝐫𝐤𝐿's actions represent perhaps the most consequential act of self-sacrifice in human history. Today, as the 𝐤𝐤𝐿 Explorer serves a new purpose, and the "we can neither confirm nor deny" response has entered our lexicon, Captain 𝐫𝐤𝐿's potential sacrifice reminds us how one person's moral choice might have forever altered history. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this, hit that thumbs up and subscribe for more real-life stories of dark, strange, and mysterious events. Until then, stay safe.